Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, Trust Talks and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each one of our episodes, we hope to give you a better idea of what to look for, what to look out for, and what to expect so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. Today, we have three very special guests with us, all veteran-owned businesses and all accredited with BBB. We have Kyle Garnett. He's the owner of Alpha Pest Control in West Haven. We have Scott Higgins. He is the executive chair of WeSalute, formerly Veterans Advantage out of Stanford, as well as Fred Librera, owner of Prolift Garage Doors of Hartford, located in West Simsbury. Thank you all for being with us today. We really appreciate it. I want to go down the line and have each of you tell me a little bit about your business and also, of course, about your military service. So we'll start with you, Kyle.
Well, I just want to say thanks for having me on today. And the owner of Alpha Pest Control LLC, and we started back in 2016, where we do a compilation of making sure that we educate our customer, which is very important, using top technology to pinpoint the issue, any problems, and we make sure that we do everything we can with customer satisfaction to get sure the job is done correctly.
And you spent some time in the military before this, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Tell me about that.
So started back in 2009. I was in the Air Force and trained with the Civil Engineer Squadron for about 4 years and cross-trained over to Logistics Readiness Squadron. By having that kind of background, those skill sets, were able to have a good segue to transfer me over into what I do currently today, which is running the business of doing pest control. Right.
It makes sense. And Scott, I'm going to turn to you now. Tell me a little bit about WeSalute and also about your military background.
Vietnam veteran, and you know, as all of you know, when we came back from Vietnam, we were not thanked. And so I took that very personally, and that is really the founding of Veterans Advantage, which is now called WeSalute. It is to create what we call a real thank you for those who have served and their family members, and we partner with companies that feel, as we do, that they, those who have served and their family members require and need acknowledgement and recognition for their service with special offers from companies. We pioneered in this area way back when we started 25 years ago, before 9/11. There were not any benefits for veterans. There were benefits for motorists and older Americans and students through Student Advantage, but none for veterans. So we started, my spouse and I, we're both veterans of Wall Street, and started out to put together Veterans Advantage. It was a very difficult up road, but we're very pleased that we have now more than 500 partners and several million members. So we're very pleased with that, and take a great deal of pride in what we've accomplished and what we hope to accomplish moving forward.
Yeah, Veterans Advantage has been around for a long time, and I know you've been accredited with BBB for quite a while. Fred, tell me a little bit about Prolift Garage Doors and also about your military background.
Yep. Thank you, Kristen, and the Better Business Bureau for having myself and these other veteran business owners on. Prolift Garage Doors of Hartford is a full-service garage door company specializing in safety, security, and style of homes and businesses through expert garage door repair and installation services. My military service started in Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia. I joined the Marine Corps as an officer from 2012 to 2016. I spent time in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I did have a deployment, and I held various leadership roles in the Marine Corps. And it's really what prepared me for my role as a business owner.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about how that military service relates to your work today.
Sure. I think the biggest thing is the leadership experience I gained very early in the Marine Corps, especially as a young lieutenant. You're given a lot of responsibility very quickly. You have to find what type of leader you are and how you lead people. And I think really it's the responsibility aspect of it. I was responsible for what my platoon did or failed to do. And I think largely as a business owner, you're responsible for all aspects of the business, whether it's marketing, operations, really everything that goes on.
Scott, you talked about how your military service relates to your work, but I want to talk a little bit with you about the unique skill set that veterans bring to the table. What are the benefits of hiring a veteran?
Well, I think that I think Fred touched on it. There are a number of attributes that veterans have that make them very attractive as employees. And I think the first one is high integrity. That's the first. But also the discipline and the teamwork is extraordinarily important. And I think that those are the attributes that you learn through military service. So I think military veterans are unique employees, and I think that's why that they're highly regarded by companies in America. They want to hire them, and they are hiring them, which is really good news.
And Kyle, same question to you. You did touch a little bit about how your experience in pest control in the military, it just goes hand in hand with what you do today. But talk also about how your military service relates to your work in the sense of the skill sets that you can bring, and why hiring a veteran is really beneficial to all of us.
Yeah, I think just being able to adapt and overcome a lot of those situations that they face with on a daily basis was the training. Just dealing with different environmental, processes and geographical areas, and being able to handle that stress in those difficult situations, being able to bring that over into the business side of things, gives a lot of opportunity to be able to adapt and overcome, and being able to do a great job day in and day out, and be very diverse and being able to adapt to different situations on a daily basis.
Well, we're going to take a step away from talking about veterans for a second and just talk a little bit about each one of your industries, because we always like, as BBB, to give consumers tips about what to look for. So let's start with pest control. Kyle, when I think of pest control, I think of, carpenter ants or mice. Are there other types of pests that are common in Connecticut that you're having to battle with day in and day out?
I would say bald-faced hornets are a big one. They're very aggressive. They're very noticeable as well. You're able to see them. It's a large shaped football nest on the outside, a gray nest that's can be very territorial. The spotter and lanternflies are a new invader into our region. They disrupt and invade our agriculture. So if you do see something like that, you want to make sure you're calling a professional to come out there and take care of the situation.
Okay. What questions should we be asking to ensure we are choosing a reliable and effective company? Because there are a lot of pest control companies out there.
Yeah, we want to make sure that they understand the certain process from start to finish, making sure that the proper person is doing the job for credentials, licensing, and making sure the company is also guiding, educating the process from start to finish. So that way it's getting done. If there's any preparation that needs to be done beforehand, if there's any post preparation that needs to be done after, so that we have the best way to get rid of the issue as quick as possible.
Do all companies treat all the pests the same, or does it vary? Do some maybe not do mice, or some might not do the hornets like you were talking about?
It varies depending on the certain licensing categories per company. It also varies the methods that they utilize, type of products that are being used, the type of environment, and the type of insect. So it all different varies between those categories.
And that was my next question. Are there any special licensing requirements, certifications, or insurance that we should be asking to see before we hire someone?
Yeah, absolutely. All that information is the company should be disclosing to the customer, and it all should be marketed on their website, on the paperwork, and the office should be able to transfer any of that information over to the customer when needed.
So in Connecticut, there are licensing requirements for pest control. Okay,
absolutely.
Good to know. Now, what if we have kids or pets? Are there certain questions we should be asking?
Yeah, it's an important one. You want to make sure that there's proper preparations, any toys, anything, clothes that are laying around, all those need to be out of the way for proper treatment. And also making sure there's any prep sheets, anything that can be given to the customer so that way they can prepare properly and step by step to ensure that the job is done correctly and it's done safely.
Okay. What about non-chemical options versus chemical options? Are the non-chemical as effective as the chemical options?
The non-chemical is more of a deterrent. It doesn't have the quite as good knockdown rate as the chemical options. It is a safer route, but depending on if it's an infestation, something that's, you need to bring in some different products to be able to get rid of it correctly and fastly, the chemical option would be the way to go.
Okay, very good. Scott, I'm going to turn to you now. You are in the business of supporting veterans. So tell me, how does WeSalute work?
Well, we're all about respect, recognition, and rewards for those who have served and their family members. So that we have, it's a membership organization. We have two levels. One is free or basic, and we offer, as I mentioned earlier, hundreds of benefits for those that group. And then we have a paid or premium level, which reflects our exclusive benefits, so that we deal with Fortune 500 companies that are offering something exclusive to those who have served. And we have a modest monthly fee of like $5 a month to pay the administrative costs for that. We are advocacy organization as well. We do events with Veterans Day coming up. We have one that is scheduled for the 7th of November. And it's dedicated to one of our board members whom we lost back in July rather. His name is Paul Buca. He was the only Medal of Honor recipient, or was, in the state of Connecticut, and has been on our board, and was on our board since inception. So we're dedicating our event on November 7th to him. It's called Heroes Meet Heroes. And it is a virtual event that attracts several thousand people. And it brings together Olympians with veterans. And in a Q&A with a panel of generally 3 veterans and 3 Olympians. And the 1,000 or so people, several thousand that watch it, are able to ask questions of this group. And it's for an hour. It's very informative. Many of the questions have to do with health issues that veterans face, and so we try to get people on the panel that have special expertise in that area. So that's sort of an overview of what we do. We're an internet company, so that we are very concerned about security issues, and those of our members who go to the website, and there are several million that do every year, every month, to make that experience seamless and effortless, to get the benefits that they deserve.
Scott, is it challenging for you to convince companies to come on board and offer these discounts, or is it pretty easy for them to recognize the service and the sacrifice of our military members?
In the beginning, it was very difficult. I got to tell you, my wife and I are both experienced dealing with companies. In a Wall Street experience, went out and beat the bushes, and we were told, look, come back when you have some members. And we didn't have some members, but we said, well, we can't get members until we have benefits. And so Amtrak was our first partner, and we managed to get that through a lot of work. And then 9/11 hit, and they needed help to fill their trains, and we helped them fill the trains with veterans. And that sort of launched us. And then we began doing partnerships with Dell and with Apple and with CVS and with United Airlines, which is now a 20-year partnership. We've been very big in the technology area. We have every major technology company as a partner, and virtually every major airline as well. It's easier now, I think, in part because we've changed the culture. I headed up a commission in the city of New York that organized a welcome home parade. It was 10 years after the end of the war. We thought nobody was going to show up, but it turned out to be the largest ticker tape parade in the history of New York. And it began to change the culture at that time. I think that people wanted to ignore Vietnam veterans. They wanted to ignore the war. They wanted to forget about it, sweep it under the rug. And this parade, they needed it. The million people that were cheering needed it as much as the 25,000 veterans who marched in it. And the culture began to change with that. It spread across the country, and people began to say, we've forgotten this group, and that wasn't right. We need to recognize and acknowledge their service. And that began to happen. And today, everybody says thank you for your service, which is really a great thing. And it's a very important, more than a gesture. It's a thank you that's important to those who have served and for those who haven't served as well, because veterans protect the freedoms that we enjoy.
Now, there are a lot of scams out there, though, Scott. Charities pretending to help veterans and other shady actors. So what tips do you have for veterans who are seeking out these services or savings?
I think a pioneer in that as well. The advice that we give to everyone who is a vet and their family members is really be very suspicious of anyone offering something that sounds too good to be true, like the VA benefits, especially if you're getting a phone call and it says, this is urgent, we want you to get these benefits from the Department of Veterans Affairs, etc. So be suspicious, and be very careful with respect to people that are calling for money, and also very suspicious of people asking for personal information that could compromise your identity. Identity theft is a huge issue for veterans and their families, and it's double the national average, which is really unfortunate. And once you've lost your identity, it's so difficult to get it back.
We see unfortunately a lot of scams come in too, and veterans, active duty, they all unfortunately tend to lose more money than civilians. So it's definitely something important to talk about. I want to switch to Fred now and talk about some garage door repair. And speaking of scams, Fred, this is an area where bad actors can really take advantage of us because we don't really know much about garage door parts, about service costs. So what questions should we be asking to make sure the person is really reputable that we're going to hire?
Sure. I really think the first thing you could do is you need a home improvement license in the state of Connecticut. So you could always go to ct.gov and look to make sure that it's current. Also, reviews are very important. So not every company is going to have perfect reviews all the time, but checking to see how they react to the negative reviews, see if they made contact to the customer, see if they try to rectify the situation. And another thing is warranties. Do the parts come with warranties? The labor. If you repair a spring and it breaks, are you gonna come back? How long is the warranty good for? I think that's a good place to start to see if a company is reputable.
Now, earlier this year, Better Business Bureau serving Connecticut put out a warning because we were seeing a lot of garage door repair ads on social media, and they were phony. Those people didn't even live here in Connecticut that were putting up these ads, pictures that you could find elsewhere on the internet. They're popping up in neighborhood and community Facebook groups. As a consumer, how can we tell what's real and what's fake?
I think the first thing you could look at is, are you the one filling out a form? Are you giving up your contact information for the company to then reach out to you? Legitimate businesses will have clear contact information. They'll have verified reviews. They'll have a professional online presence. So are they promising you, something that's too good to be true? Is it a free garage door? And if that's the case, it's really that they're processing your information into a lead that they're gonna sell to some other garage door company. So I think it's largely like, if there's an ad, if the business is there, is their contact information presented clearly, or are they trying to gain your information? I think that's a good place to start.
We've also received reports of emergency garage door repair companies that take advantage of homeowners by inflating the amount of work needed or the parts needed for repair. So what are some warning signs of this scam?
Sure. I think the biggest warning sign is being given an estimate for something vague, like a rebuild of your garage door system. Your garage door, it's a system. It's made of doors, pulleys, cables, springs, and an opener. Any one of those pieces could fail and break, but at Prolift, what we try to do is have clear communication throughout. So if we're working on your springs and we see your cables are broken, we're going to bring that to your attention. We're going to itemize it in an estimate, and ultimately it's going to be your decision to include it or not into your repair. When you have a company that's there and they're quoting you for work that is largely vague, and it's, we're going to rebuild your system, it's going to work great, and then it's X amount of dollars, that's some language that could kind of tell you that maybe you're getting a little more than maybe what you need. I would ask for the itemized breakdown. What exactly do I need? And then for us, it's always an opportunity to educate. So we just try to educate the customer. It's like, yeah, your cable is rusted. It's the part of the system that carries the weight of your whole door up and down every time it's used, and this is why it needs to be replaced.
Okay, very, very good. How should payment for a job work?
Payment's relatively straightforward. It differs a little bit if it's new installation versus repair work. Repair work, we're gonna communicate in the front on the beginning of it. I'm gonna diagnose what's going on. I'm gonna see what needs to be done, and we're gonna agree what the repair is gonna be for. And then we're gonna do the work, and we'll collect payment at the end. For a new installation, to order a door, because they are all unique, you can order the system as one for your particular application. We would take a deposit, and then we would have the final payment at the end. But regarding actual specific payment agreements, it's going to either be card, cash, checks, or all more major forms of payment.
Okay, and with anything, you don't want to feel pressure to make a quick decision, right? You want to have time to do your research. If you feel like you're being pressured, that's maybe a red flag.
Pressured, and if you don't understand exactly what's going on, so it's like, hey, you need to have this done, and otherwise, something's gonna be unsafe or not gonna work.
And everything should be in writing, correct?
Yes, yes.
Are there any new trends in garage door installation?
Yeah, I think really the two trends we're seeing a lot of are the garage door openers. So there's apps now, so you could see if your door is open or closed when you're away from the home. We're selling a lot of the jack shaft motors, which are actually mounted to the front of your garage, which frees up kind of that space overhead that you traditionally have a rail. The other trend we're seeing is a lot of the carriage house style doors for new door sales. So that's your classic wood look door, but with the less maintenance of a steel insulated steel door, which helps a lot, especially in New England with the winters. So you could have a door that has that classic look with the less maintenance and higher insulation values that you could get out of a steel door.
Okay, very interesting. Kyle, I want to talk a little bit more about pest management. I heard this term, integrated pest management. What is that, and why is it important?
So that's IPMIS. That's basically going the most economical way to service any type of pest problem. So you want to eliminate any type of hazards, going that path of least resistance to make sure that things are maybe using non-deterrents, things of that nature to kind of get rid of the problem. Maybe if there's any garage door gaps that are opening that we could seal up, getting rid of any type of foliage that could be overgrown around the property, pushing back any leaves, so a lot of over mulching in the properties that we can get rid of. Some certain items that can be used before the chemical is put into place. So usually the chemical, we want to make sure that's probably our last option if we have to go that route.
Anything we can be doing at home to I guess preventive maintenance, so to speak, that we should be doing, so we don't have to, not that I want to take business away from you, but so that we don't have this issue.
Yeah, I would say just sanitation is probably more than half the battle. So any type of exposed food items, harboring areas where there's a lot of clutter, seal everything up, put everything in plastic containers, in food cabinets if there's any food that could be spilled out, just periodically check and clean stuff up around the home. And that's going to eliminate a lot of problems.
Okay, Scott, what are the challenges of having a veteran-owned business, and what are the opportunities?
Well, I think in terms of the opportunities, we were talking earlier about approaching companies, and the atmosphere and the environment now has changed since we began 25 years ago, thank goodness. And so they're much more open to recognizing and acknowledging veterans with special benefits, if you will. Now, one of the reasons that we have rebranded from Veterans Advantage to WeSalute is that we're going to be expanding to other audiences like first responders, nurses, teachers, who are in many ways the other heroes in our society that we should acknowledge and recognize with special benefits. And that's an opportunity for us to expand in. And it's also challenging as well. From a technological point of view, we've got a large tech team that's working on this, and we want to make sure that it's done correctly in terms of verification, and those that are the real members of those groups are verified, and it's done in a professional manner. So that's a challenge and also an opportunity.
Definitely.
I think earlier we were talking about benefits and so forth. I did want to mention that WeSalute has a card that I want to show it here, right here. It's right on it. It's service saluted and has your branch of service on there, and on the back has some of our major partners like United Airlines and CBS and American Airlines, etc. And that can be used not only with our 500 partners, but also to be used as an identifier and to verify veteran service at any company that does offer a veteran discount.
Scott, you've been accredited with BBB for 23 of those 25 years that you've been in business. What do you hope that accreditation says to your customers?
I think it talks in terms of legitimacy, and I think that's one of the things that we recommend to everyone that is not sure about a service. Go to the BBB, look at the accreditation. We're rated A+, which we're very proud of and have for a long period of time, and been accredited, as you said, for 20, 22, 23 years. We also have Google reviews there, and there are close to 400 of them, with 4.8 is the number for those 400. So those are important things to do, I think, if you're looking at a service and want to make sure that it's legitimate or not.
And Fred and Kyle, I have the same question to you. You have also been accredited with BBB for a little while now. Why did you seek that accreditation, and what do you hope it says to your clients and customers?
Sure. I think it's trust, reputation, and credibility. BBB accreditation is a symbol of trust and integrity, and as a veteran-owned business, I want integrity to be forefront with our business and to reflect our commitment to transparency and reliability.
And Kyle, we'll close with you.
Yeah, I would say integrity is a very important one. We want to make sure that our customers value our trust, and that way, when being backed and accredited by the BBB, showcases all of our credentials and that information and good reviews that we work very hard for. So,
well, Kyle, Fred, and Scott, I want to thank all three of you for your service, for taking the time out to be with us today, and for serving your country. We really appreciate having you. And thank you all for watching, particularly those veterans out there. Have a happy Veterans Day, and we'll see you next time.
Step into our store and discover a stunning array of dancewear. Introducing Dancingly Yours, your one-stop shop for all things dance and delight for ages 2 to 92. From tiny tutus to energetic tap shoes, our store is a treasure trove of dance essentials. At Dancingly Yours, we offer an extensive collection of dancewear and accessories that cater to all styles and levels. We carry top brands and the latest fashion trends. From ballet to hip-hop, lyrical to jazz, ballroom to liturgical, as well as gymnastics, you'll find the best selection right here at Dancingly Yours. But we're not just a store. We're a community that celebrates the joy of dance. Our expert team is passionate about dance, just like you. So we're here to assist you in finding the perfect fit. And the best part, Dancingly Yours offers competitive pricing in-store and online. Dancingly Yours, easy to get to, and worth the trip from anywhere, right on Route 10 in Plainville.